Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on this head-to-head, we're going to try and find out which Mas Agave is the right Mas Agave for you. For those of you who may be unfamiliar with Mas Agave, it was originally released in 2019 as part of Founders Barrel Age series. This time around, they've not only re-released the original Lime, they've also re-released the Grapefruit, and they've released a new flavor, which is Prickly Pear. I'm going to try them all out in one fell swoop. If you're interested in my reviews for 2019's Lime, 2020's Grapefruit, or this year's Prickly Pear, I'll leave links in the description below the video, maybe up in the corner here. So let's get it on with this head-to-head. I'm going to bypass looking at the different labels. We're just going to get into it. But I would like to thank my executive producers, Eric Latowski, Brian Kramer, and Zach, for helping to bring this comparison, this head-to-head to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, or maybe just buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.com/draft_therapy, where you can get early access to these videos, exclusive patron-only live streams, and a few other special perks available only to patrons. So, what I'm going to do, if you have never seen a head-to-head before or a head-to-head before, I have to keep counting how many heads I've said. I'm going to crack these open, pour them, smell them, then we're just going to do a big comparison. I'll just kind of give you my thoughts, which one I prefer the most. This is the first time that, obviously, that all three of these have been released at the same time. Again, Prickly Pear is the new one, so it's the odd man out. We're just going to move these over to the side here. I have 3 glasses. These may not be the perfect glasses for these beers, but I have 3 identical glasses right here next to me, all the same style of glass, and we're just going to go with it. So we'll see where it takes us. All of these have the gold Founders Barrel Aged caps, because that's what they do with the Barrel Age series. So first off, we're going to go with the Lime variety. Move these out of the way. We're going to go ahead and pour this one. Comes out a little bit more of a yellowish brown out of the bottle. I didn't sniff the bottle. Oh my gosh, how could I forget to do that? It has a bit of a tequila kind of aroma, a little bit of a lime, not too much. Look at the head on that one. That's very nice. About a finger, maybe a finger, about a finger's worth of head. Dense bubbles, a little bit more of an off-white, not so much of a white. We're going to put the lime in the front here. Next, we're going to go with the Mas Agave Grapefruit. This is a 10%, lime is 10%, grapefruit's 9.7, prickly pear 9.7. So they are a little bit different in the ABV category. We're going to go ahead and go with the grapefruit this time. I'm going to put another nose on this one. All right, sorry about that. I had a little bit of a distraction there, but let's go ahead and pour this one. Coming out a little bit more of a pinkish color. Looks a little bit lighter. It's a little bit different of an aroma. This one is more of a lime. This one does have a bit of a grapefruit kind of deal going on. The aroma is very different. This one's a lot more grapefruit, a lot more of a brighter kind of smell, as you can see from the overhead. Again, about a finger's worth of head, and you know, not anything crazy, but very similar. And if you look at the coloration between just these two, this is the grapefruit, this is the lime. You might not be able to see this at home, but this is the lime, this is the grapefruit. The lime is very clear. It has a much clearer color or clarity to it. And this grapefruit one is a lot more hazier. It looks a little bit, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say thicker, but it has a different consistency to it. And then let's go ahead and crack this Prickly Pear, the newest one of the bunch. And just to mention, the bottle dates on these are different. This one's March 31st, this one is April 5th, and this one is March 25th. So it seems like either they did it in different batches or the grapefruit got bottled the most recently. Let's go ahead and pour this. Let me switch my hands here. And as you can see from this one, it's coming out a lot redder, a lot more of a pink color. The head kind of churns up at the end there. And again, about a finger's worth of head. The head have all been very kind of dense or really tightly compact and really nice, you know, uniform head, except across the top, but along the cross section they all kind of look the same. And let's try this out of the bottle here. Has a sweeter aroma. It's the sweetest so far. It has a much more of a berry aroma. Out of the glass, it's even more pronounced. This one has the most different aroma of any of them, of any of these beers. So I'm just going to set these bottles to the side, but these glasses are going to all be in this same order. So we will always have, whoa, we will always have prickly pear, we will always have grapefruit in the middle here, and we will always have lime on the edge. So yeah, this one, again, holding it next to this one's a lot more clear, and this one is still a bit of a hazy kind of quality. So I'm going to start with the lime, go to the grapefruit, go to the prickly pear. I'm just going to give you real quick kind of, impressions on them. I have had the prickly pear before recently. Obviously, if you've watched this in order, I did the prickly pear video earlier this week, so I've had this one. But these two I haven't had since last year. So let's go ahead and try it out. This is lime. Cheers. It has a thick mouthfeel. I think all of these will have the same mouthfeel, but this one, they're heavy. They're a bit of a heavy mouthfeel. They don't look like they're going to be heavy when you look at them in the glass, but when you try them out for the first time, it's almost shockingly heavier than you would expect, so it kind of throws you off your game a little bit. But tasting this, it tastes a lot more just like a straight up margarita. So it's a beer, but it tastes like a margarita. It has all those kind of qualities and characteristics, those kind of typical characteristics that you would expect from a margarita. It doesn't have so much of it has a very limey flavor up front. It just kind of tastes like a regular margarita, not like a flavored margarita. I want to say that I don't get a whole lot of salt out of this one. Like the first time I had it, it was like, whoa, there is so much of a salty flavor in this. There is quite a bit of a salty flavor, but you get more of a lime zestiness out of it. So you get a limey kind of flavor up front, a big limey zestiness on the back. It just enhances that tequila flavor. It enhances the tequila kind of every tequila characteristic there is to get out of it. Let's move ahead with the grapefruit. So at the beginning, it shares a very similar kind of characteristic. The mouthfeel on this one is also, on the heavier end, especially again, very deceptive. Looking at it, you wouldn't think this is going to be super thick, and then you try it and it's a lot thicker. Again, I've had one, it's still a big shock to the system because you don't expect it to be that thick. But the flavor at the beginning, they're very similar, and I think that's where the tequila is kind of kicking. The tequila barrel aging is kind of kicking together, and it's kind of, you're getting that first kind of shock of the tequila barrel characteristic. Once that first kind of swallow goes down, that saltiness kind of rinses through right there. And what you're left with is a little bit of a grapefruit, more of a kind of bitter grapefruit flavor in there. Maybe not so much bitter, but just like certainly grapefruit, very much citrus, but not quite as sharp and as tart as lime is. You're not getting those big kind of just sour notes or those sharp citrus notes. Obviously, this is lime, this is grapefruit. Limes and grapefruits are obviously different fruit, but you could tell the difference and say, oh yeah, this one definitely tastes like lime. This one definitely tastes like grapefruit. So I think they're kind of, they say this one's measured more off of a Paloma, which is a grapefruit style cocktail. And it's not so much of a margarita, more of a Paloma. So you're not getting so much of that saltiness, but you're still getting that similar kind of characteristic, or that tequila kick is in both of these beers. Let's go ahead and move on to the prickly pear. If you didn't see my review for it, like I said, check it out in the corner here, in the bottom in the description. This one has a very berry and melon flavor. It has very much of a mixed berry kind of vibe going on in it. Like the flavor that you get is very mixed berry. So one thing I feel like I've noticed between these three now is that of the three, lime is definitely still has the heaviest mouthfeel. I feel like the grapefruit is very close. It's a very close second to that, but I feel like the prickly pear is like different totally. So I'm going to try them in a row. This one I pick up a little bit more on the saltiness than the grapefruit. I feel like I'm just kind of getting more of just more of an overall kind of back to margarita styling. So I'm going to try them just in quick succession, just to see if the mouthfeel, you know, if that thickness scale, that thickest, thick, least thick, kind of still follows that train of thought. Okay. Still very similar mouthfeel. I do think this one's a bit lighter. I feel like the grapefruit might actually be heavier on the swallow. You get a little bit more of a thickness in that drink than you do in any of the other ones. But they're all very similar. So, you know, I think without just totally getting a microscope out and checking these things out and being very scientific about it, the thing that I feel like I already have kind of a favorite that I would go with. I think last year when I did a twofer, like a side by side, a head to head, whatever you want to call it, I feel like I picked the grapefruit, and maybe I picked it because it was the newer flavor. I feel like this year, maybe even it's just the 2021 version over the 2020, I'm going to say that I like prickly pear the best. That's going to be my number one. Like if I had to pick them all again. And I want to say that I'm picking it because it's different. Like I like the sweetness that it provides. I like that kind of mixed berry flavor with that touch of melon in there. I feel like they got the saltiness just dialed in really well. They got just the tequila kind of bite to it. They got everything just dialed in on this one. Yeah, so I just kind of like the sweeter, kind of a little bit sweeter flavor. I'm going to say, I'm going to just kind of switch last year, because last year I think I picked the grapefruit. Not sure on that one, but I think I picked grapefruit for top last year, and of course prickly pear wasn't out then, so I couldn't really judge this one. But I think I'm going to go with the lime this year for number two, because what I like about it is I like tequila. I like the tequila barrel aging flavor. I like just the liminess, the saltiness. I like that whole package. I think it's got a perfect amount of thickness. I feel like this is the closest beer that I've ever had, and I still feel this way, and I felt this way the first time I tried it. The closest beer I've ever had that mimics the just experience, the flavor, the thickness of a margarita. I feel like that the lime still does it. I don't think that this is no slouch. The grapefruit is no slouch by any means. It is my number three. It just it feels like there's something missing. When I try these two, when I try the prickly pear, when I try the lime, they taste like they are on the same level, like they're variations on the same beer. You know, maybe not necessarily that one followed the other, but they taste like they're in the same family. When I tried this year, when I tried grapefruit in between these two, I just don't feel like it doesn't feel like it's part of the same family. I mean, they're very close. If you just had them individually and somebody said, "Hey, do you like Mas Agave?" You say, "I love Mas Agave." "Hey, we got this new one. It's grapefruit." You try it. You're like, "This is Mas Agave. I love it." So, you know, you're going to still like it. But for me, I just feel like trying them side by side like this, again, the grapefruit just feels like one of these things is not like the other. The grapefruit, not to say that's a bad thing, it just doesn't feel like it belongs in the same category with these other two beers. But with that all being said, I love the fact that Founders, number one, that they're doing variations on their beers. They're taking a beer, a barrel aged series beer, and they're doing the variations. They're kind of changing it up a little bit. And then the thing that I love, number two, I mean, they're doing it with Mas Agave, they're doing it with KBS. The thing that I love, number two, about it, it was when they put a version out, when they put Prickly Pear out, they release, or when they put out Mackinac Fudge, KBS, they put the other versions out there too. So you get a chance to do these side by sides, and it kind of lets you experience like this is the base beer, this is the first iteration, this is the second iteration. So, you know, maybe more of like a love letter to founders. I just enjoy that they're doing that, because I feel like enthusiasts like us, you know, we want to try these things side by side. You don't want it to exist in a vacuum, and you don't want to not be able to say like, I like this one versus what this has to offer, you know, XYZ. So, anyways, if I had to pick a favorite between these three, if you had to twist my arm, I'm going to pick Prickly Pear. I'm going to go with Lime second. And unfortunately, while still good, I'm going to take the Grapefruit as number three. All right, friends, that has been my Mas Agave 2021 head-to-head-to-head. I'm sure I'll be feeling this one tonight. So have you carried out this own side-by-side tasting of your own? And if so, which one did you prefer? Did you like the classic lime? Maybe you've been a newcomer in prickly pear, but you still thought that was the best, like me. Or maybe you're just a fan of the grapefruit. Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it's all for free for viewers just like you. And you might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are and wherever you are, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Cheers.